Hi gentlemen, welcome back. I'm dating coach Naz, and in today's video I'm going to get into why most men never find love. I want to get one thing quite straight with you men. There is nothing wrong with being single for the rest of your life. There is nothing wrong with never wanting to be with a woman for the rest of your life. There is nothing wrong with never wanting to get married for the rest of your life. You don't have to be in a relationship or have a woman to be happy. So I just want to be very clear with that message, because I'm sure you might be thinking, because I talk about love and relationships, and if that's not something that you want out of your life, you don't need to go after that, okay? This channel specifically is for men who really want to find that connection and that self-love within themselves. And if you do want to get into a relationship, if you are seeking a woman, a partnership, a friendship, whatever, then I'm also going to show you how to get to that level. Okay. So for my YouTube video, I do want you to take whatever resonates with you. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that means it's just not for you. Not every single YouTuber, not every single message is meant to be for you. So just make sure that when you hear something, you're not trying to dissect it and be like, oh, what does this mean for me? Not everything means everything for you. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm just being honest. Okay, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to be single forever, for sure. But the most important relationship that you have in your life is a relationship you have with yourself, because you come into this world alone and you sure as hell leave alone. So the relationship, the connection, the bond you have with yourself, it really matters. And that's one of the reasons why I created my program. I really wanted men to first find a connection within yourself, because when you don't have that, you can't attract anything really worth a while in your life. I mean, you can attract things, but it's never going to lead to long-term satisfaction, which is what all of us human beings want. And then none of us just want short-term happiness. But also I want you to know that if you do want love, if you do want a relationship, don't get embarrassed or, I don't want to say it because it sounds like I'm weak or I'm a failure. No, it really doesn't. That's what society is telling you, that men, when they're yearning for love or when they're open to their friends, like, hey, I'm really, I want to meet somebody great. There's nothing wrong with that. Vulnerability equals strength. I know someone's going to argue with me on this, but I'm still going to say it. For me, mental strength, for example, I'm going to take Mahatma Gandhi, right? He literally won a war just by his mind. He did not lift a finger. He did not hurt anybody. He did everything through his mind. And I applaud that man, because, he really did something that I believe all of our souls are trying to do, or it's in order to evolve as a soul, we all are trying to get rid of our ego. Okay, and the more that we attach to the ego, the more that we suffer. Anyways, this is a whole different topic. But also, I want you to know that if you've failed in love, if you've had some unhealthy relationships that have just not worked out for whatever reason, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Okay, what for me is a failure, I know this is why, is staying in a relationship when, it's just not going anywhere. There's no growth. It's just stagnant, but you're just there because you're like, oh, whatever, she's there, I'm there, we're having sex, whatever, and we're just moving along. That's not life. Like, come on, people. And so real strength is really about saying what you want. And for a long time, I had a problem with that. So I totally understand. My ego was really big, was enormous. I mean, I still have my ego, and I'm aware of my ego. I'm like, okay, my ego's coming back to play. It's coming up, and just being aware that your ego literally is trying to keep you stuck into that old identity. It doesn't want you to change. It doesn't want you to move. It doesn't want you to grow. So whenever you are identifying with your identity and how amazing you look and how much money you have and how successful you are, and a lot of spiritual people are like this. When people say, I'm spiritual, yeah, okay, just because you're spiritual doesn't mean that you don't have an ego. There's a lot of I guess, coaches, therapists, or even people that are healers, and they allow their ego to kind of rule, their work. And I think that you really have to be aware of the ego, because it creeps up in places and you're like, how the hell, why am I doing this? Why am I talking like this? So anyways, that's a whole different topic. I feel like also just by experiencing a lot of men, I mean, not a lot of men, but you know what I mean, talking to a lot of men, working with men, I've realized whenever I get into the relationship with their father, they always get back to, most of the time, he was very disconnected emotionally. He was always criticizing me. He never really made me feel seen. He never said I love you. And so what I realized is that some men have never seen their fathers be the men that they need to be right now in this generation. And so I understand that, it's difficult to be something that you've never seen before, right? And I just want you to challenge that. And I want you to say, listen, this is now your soul has reincarnated into this moment in time to change the generations before you. It's your responsibility to break that cycle, to change, the narrative that your children are going to talk about you. Because I always think about this, when I die, when I'm not on this planet, my parenting, whatever I've left on this planet is hopefully it's going to be there forever, right? And so just ask yourself, what kind of legacy are you leaving in this world? What kind of energy are you leaving in this world? Is it good or is it bad? Just want to let you guys know that my drawing isn't that great. I feel like I have potential to be a good artist, but I just get lazy sometimes. So just bear with me on my little drawing. And so here we go. All right, so this is going to be you. Okay, you know what? Maybe I should just make a stick, because I don't know if this is going to turn out that good. This is just... Okay, so just bear with me, okay? I don't make fun. I don't know what that is, but anyways, hair. Would you have long hair? Yeah, I think it'll make more sense to have short hair, because then... So now the reason why most men are unable to find real love is because their magnetic field has a lot of different things that are blocking them and holding them back. I'm just trying to make it very simple and easy so anybody can understand this. Okay, so let's say your first layer here, and again, this is going to be really interesting, this drawing. The first layer is going to be your unhealed wounds, which most men tend to avoid dealing with, because it's like, what's the point of it? Just like let it go. I don't want to talk about it. I'm done, thinking about it. It's done with. Instead of actually looking at it, facing it, and taking a look at the wound and really getting aware of where this has really come from, what has happened in your past, and allowing that wound to slowly heal. A lot of men are disconnected from themselves, and when they're disconnected from themselves, they can't even be aware of these wounds. Let's say, for example, even though I've healed my wounds, they can still come back up, right? That's the whole point of awareness. So the other day I was, I guess, having a little bit of an emotional day, and I realized that I had feelings of, I felt left out. I felt rejected. And I had to really sit with myself and dig deep and sit with the mud and roll in that mud, because I realized those were emotions that I felt as a little child. And what happens is, as adults, we tend to repeat these patterns, these thought patterns. They just don't disappear into thin air. They keep on repeating until and unless you get aware of it. And literally just by me sitting with myself and being aware, putting the focus on, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now, that is a portion of healing your wounds. I mean, there's much more to that, which I talk about in my program, but that's one of the things I feel like men definitely need to work on. And when you don't heal it, it's part of your magnetic field. Another one is limiting beliefs. And these really are your thought patterns, whatever you think about love, relationships, women, even thoughts of yourself. All of those things are part of your limiting beliefs in money and success, whatever it is, it's all interconnected, it's all intertwined. The next one is self-sabotaging habits. So usually this comes in a form of pushing people away or procrastinating, not taking action. You want to stay in the victim mode, in the victim mentality, instead of actually looking at life in a perspective of you are the creator of your life, and every single hardship, downfall, failure, breakup, whatever it is meant to help your soul grow and evolve. And so in order for the consciousness to also grow and evolve, right? So a lot of the times, because we don't want to go there, we tend to repeat patterns and behaviors that keeps us stuck. It could even be a behavior of you sitting and drinking alcohol every night instead of actually not drinking at home by yourself, and spending time with your friends, or joining a group, starting a class, or just connecting with people that you have kind of stopped connecting to. Next one is humongous, which is disconnected from source. So what this really means, when you're disconnected from source, you're really disconnected from yourself, because source, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is part of you, okay? And also, this has a lot to do with your faith. When you're disconnected from source, it means you do not have faith that everything is working out in the betterment of your life. It is actually turning out better than you could have ever imagined. And sometimes where I get into a rut as well, I'm not going to lie, I have moments where I'm like, I'm doing everything. Why isn't this working out for me? I get it. What I sometimes also time to, kind of reframe is that the universe is protecting me from things that I can't even see. So sometimes I'm thinking that this problem is so enormous and so huge, but in reality, maybe God protected me. I could have had an accident an hour ago, but he actually protected me and saved me. So it's like really looking at life where you're not so, making your problem bigger than it should be, and really understanding that every challenge is not a problem. It's really an opportunity, because your soul is actually calling it in, because that is what your soul has come here to do. It is here to grow. It is not here to shrink. It is not here to diminish itself. It's here to expand. So in a human's, our brain, we think every challenge, oh my God, not this again. And it's funny because I was listening to Eckhart Tolle, and he said a lot of humans are thinking, just leave me alone, life. I'm done with this life. Just let me be. That's never going to happen. Life is never going to let you be, because life is always lifing. And I love that he said that, because it's really funny. The next one is forgiveness towards family or a person. A lot of men still hold on to that pain, or she did this to me, and how dare she, or how dare he, and we're stuck in this narrative, in this story. And so once we realize that people only behave according to the level of consciousness that they are on, and again, this goes back to what Eckhart Tolle says, and I've been obsessed with him recently, as you can tell. He says, I don't need to forgive you, because your level of consciousness wasn't able to see what you were doing wrong. And I love this quote by, I believe it was Jesus who said this: forgive them, for they know not what they do. Okay? Because one of the biggest people that hurt me the most was my own mother. Okay? And when you live your life thinking about how dare she, or why wasn't she thinking, or what was wrong with her, look at me, like I'm such a good mom, why couldn't she be the kind of mother that I want? I could sit here and think about that all day long. But I realized I had to learn, and I became aware, and I became conscious that she is not I'm not here to make, talk bad about my mom, but I'm just trying to give you a little example. She did the best she could with the consciousness that she is she's on. And so I cannot sit here and expect an apology. I cannot sit here and wait for that and then hold my entire life because of that. I can't do that. So I realized there's no need to even forgive her because she just doesn't know. It's like a child. When a child acts up, you don't get mad at the child because their level, and not to say that, well, I'm kind of saying that, but some people are just not aware. It doesn't make them better than you or whatever. It's just that the journeys are different. The soul evolution is happening differently in this lifetime. Maybe in the last lifetime, your soul evolution was a little bit slower, whatever it is. I'm not God. You can ask him when you get there. Okay. So really making sure that this aspect has been released out of your body, out of your mind energetically. And the next one is constant stress and fear. It's like, what's going to happen if I do this? If I, invest my money into this, am I going to lose my money? Am I going to be able to make more money? Or, if I go on a date with this woman and if I go on the next date, is she going to burn me or whatever? We have all these thoughts. And the most important part of thoughts, again, I have this in my program, is that it's not really coming from you. Half of the time your thoughts are coming from the magnetic field or your past experiences or just what the people that are around you, the news that you watch. It's not really coming from you. It is a thought form. It is just energy in the form of a thought. So when you acknowledge every single negative thought, emotion, fear, that is when you're going to create more of it. Okay, so once you just realize that these thoughts, it's good to acknowledge them and like, hey, you know what? I'm good here, and I'm going to switch my thought pattern now, instead of perpetuating the same thought over and over again and expecting a different reality. Another one is talking about problems, but I have no more space left, but never taking action. Instead of finding a solution, we tend to talk about the problem and think that if we talk about it enough, it's going to get better and it's going to go away and we're going to find a solution. But that's just not how this works. If you want to find the solution, you got to focus on what you want. You got to focus on the desires. You got to focus on what you want to manifest. You can't focus on, oh, my life and I don't have this yet. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because I did this myself for a very, very, very long time. And I realized how much it stopped me from literally living my full potential. And that is why I'm so adamant on getting aware of this pattern. And the last but not the least is dysregulated nervous system. This is all sitting in your magnetic field and literally holding you back. It is not allowing the right signal to come to you because you have all of these layers. But what we tend to do is we tend to focus on our external. If I do this, if I get this job, if I get money, then I'm going to find the one. But this still remains the same. You're still blocked. And so it pushes away the very connection that you're looking for. And so sometimes what I notice is men complain, oh, I can't find the woman. I can't find this. And what I realized after working with so many men is that most of the time, your soulmate is around you. But what happens is because you're so blocked up, you can't pull her in. You can't even recognize her when she's in front of you. And so you're pushing away the very connection that you're craving. And also when your nervous system is dysregulated, what happens is that your heart and your brain, the waves, they're not coherent. And in order to attract the love of your life, both of these waves, they need to be in, how do I do it? In rhythm. No, actually it should go like this. They go in rhythm. Does that make sense? But what happens is when you're dysregulated, you're stressed, you're nervous, you're anxious, whatever it is, and this is not just a little moment or a couple hours. This is the whole day of a dysregulated system. What happens is then your waves are actually canceling each other out. I'm sorry, these are the worst. My neighbors think I'm crazy, but okay. So you're not able to align with love. And love, I believe, first has to come from yourself. So the love that you deserve, that you need to create for yourself, comes from you. And then that eventually is going to also manifest into the woman that also will find you in due time. You're basically stuck in survival mode, not connection. And so you might be saying women don't care or love doesn't exist. But the truth is you just haven't been in that state to really receive it. And that is not your fault. Right? All of these things, the reason why I'm creating this is for you to open up your eyes and wake up and get more conscious and aware of these patterns and behaviors and really understand that your life is in your hands. It's in nobody else's hands. And so it is now your responsibility after putting out this information for free. This is now your wake-up call. Okay, I need to now do something a little bit differently. And so if you guys are interested in learning more about my new program, Unlock Your Attraction Power, I'm literally guiding you throughout the entire process, healing, rewiring, reconnecting to who you truly are, and not the wounded version, but the magnetic one. And so click the link down below to get started. And so this is your sign right now to do something that nobody in your circle has ever done before. And maybe part of your destiny is to be the role model other men have never had before. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.